Hey, what's up guys? Rob here, and I'm back with a brand new movie review. Good folks over at Wild Eye Releasing sent me a copy of this movie to review for you guys and talk about. The movie is Bonehill Road. I will put the links to their website and YouTube channel in the description. So definitely check out Wild Eye Releasing. Now, Bonehill Road. I've heard a lot of good things about this movie. Especially that, it's directed by Todd Sheets, and I'm a very big fan of him. He is a very talented director, and, I just think he's done some really good stuff. And hopefully one day I can meet him, because, the movies that he makes are very low budget, independent films, movies that I would make. I mean, when I look at the kind of stuff he does, with the certain camera shots and stuff, I'm like, that's something that I would do. I mean, every time I see one of his films, I just think of that. But yeah, hopefully one of these days I can meet him. But Bonehill Road. Every review I've seen, they pretty much praise this film, calling it one of, the best movies that Wild Eye has put out. The thing is, I can agree, and then, at another point, I kind of disagree. Because I felt like this movie, had a lot of potential, and I felt like it kind of dragged when it came to that. And what I mean is, this is a werewolf film. But the whole second act of the movie is something different. It turns into a torture film. Not really a home invasion, but there's like this killer, and like he is, holding these women hostage in this house, and it turns into a different film. Like, I'm thinking to myself, like, what is going on here? Like what is this, a werewolf film, or is this a like a torture film where it's like something you've seen before? The movie as a whole, I think it's very well done. The main actresses in this, you have Ellie DeGear, who played the mother in this, and then you have Anna Plumberg, who played the daughter. And it mainly focuses around them. Basically trying to get away from the father that's kind of abusive. In the beginning, you see he's kind of like beating her up, and like, so they take off in the car, and I think the acting between them two, they were great. I think especially Anna, who played the daughter, she was fantastic. I think, the times where she had to be emotional, I really bought it. I mean, even the mother too. Like I said, Ellie, she did a great job too when she was scared and crying and stuff. I mean, I think they were the best actresses in this entire film. I think there was Millie Mylan, who played one of the girls who was captive. She did a great job too. But Linnea Quigley, of course, one of the Scream Queens. Of course, I know her the best from Return of the Living Dead, one of my favorite zombie films. She's in this. She almost makes, I think it's a little bit more than a cameo, but she's not in it that much. But anyway, the movie, focuses around the mother and the daughter. They're taking off in the car. Well, they start driving, and this creature runs out in front of the car, and it turns out to be a werewolf. And there is more than one. They keep showing about 3 of them. They crash the car, and the werewolves show up, and they start to go on foot because they can't start the car. And the werewolf designs are amazing. I loved it. Like they were different too. They all didn't look the same. There was like a different kind of werewolf, and then like a bigger werewolf, and like one had different color hair. I really loved that. It was very creative, and you know, the designs with people in costumes and real-time effects. I'm sorry, but that kind of filmmaking is still, it's still crucial to make a good film like this. I mean, the CGI stuff, it gets ridiculous. I loved the real effects. I mean, I loved it. The gore effects were top-notch. That was another good thing. But yeah, the werewolves looked really cool. So the two start running and they end up at this house. They go into the house and there's music, creepy music playing, and there's these women who are tied up at the dinner table. One of them being Linnea Quigley, and then the other one's Millie Mylan. And they go in there and there's this crazy guy. And this crazy guy they kind of meet up with in the beginning of the film when they're at a truck stop or whatever. They run into this crazy guy. Like, where you girls heading? He was cool. Like, I'm saying he really fit the part for like a crazy guy, some of the stuff he would say. But I kind of felt it was out of place because by the time they get into the house, the werewolves are just standing outside. They're standing outside, just standing there. And the whole like second half of the movie, or I want to say the second act, they're in this house and it becomes a different film. The werewolves kind of take a back seat. And I kind of felt that was maybe a bad decision because they could have made their own film with this killer. I actually thought it was really cool, the fact that these women were trying to survive this killer. You know, this guy who starts cutting people up, he stabs Linnea Quigley and starts gutting her, and this woman in the bathtub, he starts taking skin off of her and flesh off of her and cooks it like a steak. I mean, it was kind of cool, the effects and all that, and it was cool to see that kind of like, you know, I'm into those kind of torture kind of movies where you have a killer and he's basically torturing women or men or whatever he's doing. And that's what it reminded me of. But I don't think that belonged in a werewolf film. It just felt kind of weird to me. I think they could have done without that. I wanted to see more werewolf stuff. Because, like I said, the whole time they're in this house trying to survive this guy and talking amongst each other, it cuts sometimes to the werewolves just standing outside. They're not doing anything. I'm like, why aren't these werewolves like breaking into this house? But instead, they choose to focus on this killer. I thought that was I just thought that was a bad decision. I wanted to see the werewolves, you know, outside the house trying to get into the house, and they're boarding the windows up and doing all that kind of stuff. They're trying to survive these werewolves. That's what I wanted to see. But like I said, the whole second act is a different movie. And that would be, like I said, that would be fine on its own if they would have made a movie about a killer at this house. Like, that would have been a cool movie on its own. But not in a werewolf film. So that would be my only, I'd say that'd be my only big gripe about the movie, is that they kind of, it had so much potential, they could have done stuff. Well, by the third act, the werewolves start to do their thing. They like I wanted. They start to try to get into the house and start boarding it up. This grandpa guy shows up. They start boarding the place up. You know, if people die here and there. That killer guy was starting to get on my nerves, though. He was getting to where it was annoying, because they start stabbing him. I don't know how many times they stabbed him, and he just keeps coming back, and like when he gets stabbed, it just doesn't seem like it hurts him. I'm like, is this guy superhuman? I'm like, he's getting eaten by the werewolves, and he's like, I hope you choke on it. Like, he just starts, you know. I'm like, this guy just doesn't die. I'm kind of getting annoyed with it. But anyway, so, you know, the third act, they start to do more werewolf stuff. I'm like, okay. I'm like, now we're talking. I'm like, that's pretty cool. It starts getting really good. The third act, it starts getting really good. A couple of things that kind of, I'm just kind of like, that was, I didn't really understand that. There's this part where the mom, you know, Ellie DeGear, is holding the door shut with her feet, and the werewolf's trying to get in. And here's the daughter and the grandpa just standing there watching her, when they could be over here holding the door shut helping her, and they're just standing there watching her, and the grandpa's kind of holding the daughter back. I'm like, why? Like, why are you holding the daughter? What are you doing? And so then the mother's like, take care of her. And then she just lets the door go, and then the werewolf comes in, and then she tackles the werewolf, and the werewolf pretty much kills her. I'm thinking to myself, like, well, you could have helped her. You could have helped her close the door, or find something to put in front of the door, or help her. You know, all three of them could have held that door shut. So I thought that was kind of just, that's kind of a dumb decision. But anyway, this movie had great music, fantastic music, and a lot of Todd Sheets films. That's one thing. Well, that's another thing I like about Todd Sheets movies, is that he has great music, and like throughout the film, it just had like a creepy vibe, and it had kind of almost like an 80s, an 80s tone, like to the music. And one of the best parts of this movie is the transformation. It reminded me of one of my favorite werewolf movies ever, American Werewolf in London. There's this part where this girl, she gets bitten by a werewolf. She's naked, and she starts to turn into a werewolf. The teeth start to grow, and she starts going like this, and it's like really slow. It's a really slow transformation. Then she turns into a werewolf. It's one of the greatest things I've ever seen, like as far as effects go. Oh my god, it was so good. It beats anything CGI. It was good. I was like sitting there with my mouth open like, this is badass. Like, oh my god. That's like the best scene in the whole movie. The transformation. But yeah, like the music combined with the great effects and the acting. The acting here and there, was really bad. But I don't expect Oscar-nominated performances. I don't expect that in these kind of films. It's part of the charm. Like in the beginning, when the father's beating up on the woman, or the husband or whatever, he's, the stuff, he's like, where are the fucking keys? There's nothing fucking in this fucking purse. Like, he starts just saying that kind of stuff. I just started laughing. But like I said, the mother and the daughter, the acting was great. It was great. And pretty much a lot of the performances were. The killer, he said a couple dumb things here and there, but I really have no complaints on the acting in general. I just think it was good. Like I said, the effects, the music, the acting, great. Like the way the werewolves looked, and like, yeah. And they really focus on the characters too, like the mom and daughter. They really focus on how much they care for each other and how much the daughter cares for her mother. And at the end, they kind of do a little bit of like a tribute thing, like a little flashback on how she thinks of her mom. And I just wish they would have done more with the werewolves. I think they could have cut that whole part out with the killer and just had a survival kind of thing going on. Maybe someone turns into a werewolf that's inside the house, and they have to try to deal with that at the same time deal with the ones outside. That would have been more interesting. I wanted to see more. I wanted to see more of that. So, all in all, I think it was very well done. Yes, I would say it is one of Todd Sheets' best, but he does have a lot of good ones. So, yeah, it's not a perfect film whatsoever, but I was very entertained. And like I said, great transformation scene. Those of you who've seen this movie know what I'm talking about. But Wild Eye sent me the unrated director's cut. It's got a bonus feature behind-the-scenes documentary, which I have yet to see. It says right here, unrated, it contains scenes of horror, violence, graphic images. Oh yeah. Is definitely, if you're looking for like a werewolf movie that you know, had a big budget kind of film, kind of, you know, one of those films, this is not the one for you. The pacing of this one is kind of slow, but it works its way up. Like I said, you learn to, you know, you appreciate these characters, and then the werewolves show up. And like I said, I just wish they would have done more with them. But anyway, pretty solid flick, I will say. Yeah, so that's my review of Bonehill Road. Have you guys seen this movie? Let me know in the comments what you thought of this. And like I said, again, I want to thank Wild Eye Releasing for sending me this. I really do appreciate it. I really enjoy Wild Eye stuff. I have a whole shelf up here dedicated to Wild Eye and the stuff they sent me. I still have yet to watch a lot of the stuff they sent me, so there's just so much. But anyway, yeah, I'll put their official website in the description and their YouTube channel. So definitely go check out some of their stuff and watch some of their trailers too. You might be interested. So definitely check out Bonehill Road. This is Rob. Thank you very much for watching this. I'll be back with more movie reviews. And yeah, I'll see you guys in the next one.